I agree with Victor that we need to create not only a public space on the island so that we can not only educate young people, because that's the next generation, but also those that are already on the island to continue to preserve the nautical and to continue to expand it so that we can make sure that it survives for the next generation, for the next 100 years. We do need to find funding for it. You know, our resources are limited, but there is opportunity to contract a non-for-profit or get a social group in the community to not only sponsor it, to educate young adults and young people and children, and also to help the adults that are in the community to continue to preserve that for the next generations to come. Thank you.
So, you know, I don't know how many in the room when you guys were younger you had woodshop class. You know, and I know that the island has boat builders here for generations and centuries. This is something that's important to this culture and this community. I think that together with some colleges and schools, I think that it's very important. My son just graduated with a mechanical engineering degree. I think that Maritime College would be a good partner to funnel some money through and bring it into City Island and to teach some of those students there, you know, what the importance is of the nautical community and to revive that old-fashioned feel that City Island had and bring it back so that people are proud of the history of City Island. Put more money into the museum here. Let's make this one of the most well-known museums in the Bronx. We should be proud of this. And, you know, it's something that I definitely want to do and promote City Island because it's one of the most beautiful parts of the Bronx.
Thank you for your question. Because they came in a little late too, and I didn't get to shut them out. Both my parents are here. My mom is back there. Terry, many of you don't know. She came in on the question about animal shelters, and I know if I had shouted her out then, she would have yelled at me afterwards for that. So nice to see you, Ma. Anyway, this is a great question about maritime heritage, and I remember moving here because my mom was the first one to drive here and thinking how different of a place this was than many other places in the city of New York. To protect the maritime flavor, we need somebody who is going to be ironclad in protecting our special district zone. You can't take a chance on that. You can't take a chance on a politician who changes their positions as the wind blows. Simple as that. I'm also in favor of working with people like Sue Ballinson in the back there on the Gateway Project. When you come to City Island, there should be a wow factor. There should be something else than just another seafood restaurant there, and I'm committed to working with her, if elected to the council, to make that happen. With respect to the Nautical Museum, love you, love the work you do. You know, I'm going to be a supporter of that. And finally, and this is something we haven't talked about a lot, but since Steve's here in the front row and he looks at me, I want to pass the Small Business Survival Act. Nothing's damages our nautical history, like 30 abandoned storefronts here. Real estate is too greedy. We need to let the yeah.
For those of you that know me, you know I keep my word. The first thing that I do is get air conditioning for this center. The second thing I do, because I'm the only one that has a relationship in the state to make sure that we have access to that grant, whether it be in the Assembly or the Senate, and certainly discretionary spending that I'll have in the City Council will be invested to protect this nautical community as well as the museum.
Just so you know, 1 minute, you get one tap after 45 seconds.
Not 3?
Just do 3 if you're overtime.
Okay, perfect. So when we're looking at City Island, it is historical nautical community. We need to maintain that, and we need to do that by keeping the zoning as is, not allowing overdevelopment, but making sure that our storefronts, like John said, are kept alive and well. That means keeping our businesses alive. That means bringing back and working together with our merchants and seeing if a bid works here. Sometimes bids work in the community, sometimes not, but let's give it a shot. Because we have to unite our small businesses together and make sure that we have everyone coming here and staying here and knowing its value to us. But wait, we need to make sure that we hold people accountable. And that when we're building establishments, that they work for the community and they have our input first. That is my #1 priority. And so when we're looking at here, City Island, making sure that we can connect to Locust Point, to to Silver Beach, finding ways to spread our district around and be a good neighbor. That's what I'm looking for. So thank you very much.
All right, so I think we're gonna do maybe one more question, because it's getting hot in here. Is everybody hot? Let me see hands. Who's hot? Oh, wow, people aren't that hot. We're gonna do one or two more questions, and then we're gonna have them do, well, come fill out a card if you want to. We're gonna do one or two more questions, and then we're gonna have a minute for each candidate, you know, for their final summation. So we have another question? Eric,
Yes,
traffic.
how you doing? Okay, I'm changing my topic, it's not traffic.
How
Enough
shocking.
of that. I'll save that for the future candidates, that and the sidewalk. But right now, I think the most important thing is, somebody raised the issue, real estate taxes. I was just down on 3030 3rd Avenue today, protesting my real estate taxes, okay? I want to let you know, I don't know whether anybody else has realized this in the community, but our market values, I don't know anybody else, but mine jumped 100,000 in 1 year. Now, your assessments are assessments, but it all comes down to trickle down, and it starts with market values. And I'm fighting that situation. I don't care what they're going to turn around and tell you down there. I started out going down there in February. They were giving you some sort of BS education. I don't know who they thought they were dealing with, but obviously I went through the protest, I filed all the applications and everything else, heard nothing back, and followed up on it today.
So it's
They said, give me another 5 to 6 weeks.
What's your
How's
question?
anybody else
your
going to
question?
answer our market values on how they're determined? Because basically, it is about the sales approach. Ask any real estate
All right, Eric,
broker.
we got to put a time limit on the
Okay.
question now. I didn't know we needed to do that.
So I'm an accountant, and I am getting very frustrated with the real estate tax, not only on my house. I recently purchased a small building on East Fremont Avenue. When I bought it, I thought, wow, this is insane. It was $16,000. In a couple of months, I've only owned it for about 6 months, they raised my real estate taxes to $21,000. So before the deadline, I sent in the appeal. I got it back a few weeks ago saying, we're sorry, we believe that our assessment was fair and just and you can't do anything about it. Now I have to hire an attorney. I suggest that what we do is we as a community reach out and we get some attorneys that will help us that have expertise in this. Because let's face it, like anything, if you're not great at something, it's hard for you to fight it. We can't do it, we're laymen in that sense. So we need to get the advice of the professionals on how to fight these things. But you're right, because when you look at somebody like de Blasio with an assessment, with a fair market value of $1.6 million, how can they justify that his taxes are only $3,100? And in Pelham Bay, my assessment's only $442,000, but I'm paying close to $6,000. How does that make any sense? Brooklyn can't be assessed less on the land because they're trying to say, well, it's the land, it's not the house. It can't be, because how would the market value be so much higher? So we need to figure out what's broken in the real estate system to make the assessments equal across the board.
When I bought my house in foreclosure, it was assessed at $170,000. This year, it's been assessed at $370,000. The tax system is broken. There's a corrupted machine that allows it to happen. You could cap the rate, right? But the state and some other entity allows it. If the value of the house goes up, that's how they raise your taxes. So yeah, they'll say that the city hall will say, yeah, we capped your rate. But then if you get an assessment and your house goes up $100,000, then you have to pay the extra cost. It's unfair. It's good for me because then I was like, wow, I bought this for $100,000. Now it's worth $375,000. Whoa, you know what I'm gonna do? Now, the house in the corner, when the developer built, three developers built 3 townhouses. They're $1 million. The one developer at the other side of my neighborhood built one at $500,000. So now what's going to happen to me? My house is going to go up in between $500,000 to $1 million. I got to pay the taxes. I don't want to feel like my brothers and sisters up in Westchester County paying $20,000. We need to address this. We need to fight this. We need to unite, and we need the right person.
My gavel has
Not a
All right,
politician.
Lucy's going to bite you. We were doing so well.
I'll keep it to 45 seconds. You need to elect someone who's not involved with real estate or with special interest or with developers. So if you hire somebody to do the job who's already in bed with the people who are making the rules or to overprice you, then that's where your problem begins. So we do need to change the way. The real estate boards are creating the problem. The state and the city and your elected officials are not being held accountable. You need change, and you need it now. You don't want to hire, again, someone who's in bed with the real estate board. You don't want to hire someone who's trying to overdevelop your community, because that's where the problem is as well. So if your house is already, your community, like she said, on paper, your house is worth something, and then they continue to overdevelop, who's going to buy the house? Think about that.
Eric, always a pleasure. And you always have a good question that sometimes is longer than the answer some people give. As it relates to the assessment and how your prices, your house is priced, a lot of this is a game. And again, we know it's a game because Mayor de Blasio pays half on his brownstone, as someone mentioned, of what you middle-class homeowners pay. So what do we do differently? I think this is one of those great examples where we can kind of put party registration on the door. I'm a Democrat. I'm running in the Democratic Party. I'm a proud Democrat. I've always been a Democrat. But the Republicans are leading a lawsuit to change the system, to get it out from the darkness, to make it fuller and transparent. I would join on to that lawsuit. I think it's unfair that homeowners in Bronx and Staten Island are paying a better rate than Queens and Brooklyn. I agree with you that it's outrageous. Again, if we wait for Albany to solve our problems, we'll all be dead, including me. So we have to go down there, we have to start a lawsuit, and we need to change things.
Never
That's
mind
what-
Manhattan, John.
Well, rich millionaires now.
So, as I mentioned earlier, one of the biggest issues when it comes to homeowners is the property taxes and the water rates, and they go hand in hand. They've been ridiculous for most homeowners, and when we're looking at what has happened to you, sadly it's happened to most of us homeowners, and for me, that's tragic. And what we need to do, with my accounting background, is restarting this, making sure that we're looking at the whole agency together and making sure that we're looking at assessment that works around. When we're looking at comparables, that it really matches at what your house value is truly worth and what the tax rate is comparable to your neighbors, not to de Blasio because he is going to be half yours. And that's not fair to you, it's not fair to me, it's not fair to any of us. Once again, it's 1% versus all of us, and I'm sick and tired of carrying it on my back. I'm sure you are, and that's why I look forward to working with you on that and making sure that the agency listens to us and we clean it up from the inside out. Thank you.
The most direct answer you're ever going to get. The rest of the state has a 2% cap, except for New York City. What's good for the state should be good for New York City. Your pensions and Social Security and income cannot keep up with the increase in real estate taxes. I grilled this agency for an hour and a half at a testimony. They could not answer. They refused to answer. This administration has been hiding behind this corrupt scheme of how to raise your real estate taxes. When I get to City Hall, I promise you, that vein on his neck comes out again when we talk about real estate taxes. I filled out dozens and hundreds of petitions challenging assessments. There's only one answer to that. I'll be there for you. I'll have an office that's going to help you assess and challenge your assessments, and I'll make sure that it gets capped at 2%. I'll push all the way to Albany, the only one that has the resources and relationships to do that.
Yeah, you had a question which is specifically for...
Yeah, it's going to be, all right, so if you can ask it towards everybody.
First, I wanted to say, I don't know who, I only know who 2 Democrats are. Are there any independents or any Republicans?
Republicans.
Okay, so you've identified yourself.
Yeah, I was gonna do that in the closing, I'm sorry, I was in a rush
The
before.
other thing is, my question is, which one of the Democrats are aligned with the IDC? That's the Independent Democratic Conference. The IDC votes with Republicans all of the time. So they say they're Democrats, but they vote with Republicans. Some of the people here, and some of the candidates here, belong or support the IDC and Jeff Klein. So I'd like to know which one they are.
I'll take this one. How much time do I have?
And this is going to be the last question, so don't start this time yet. This is going to be the last question they'll all address. Then they'll each have a minute to wrap up. And then we can go home and watch Dancing with the Stars.
I don't support an IDC, but I do support a state senator that's devoted his life to public service, was given more back to this community than any other person. You want a person, I want to answer your question. You want a person in government that delivers for you, that doesn't give you empty promises. Senator Klein, time and time again, has come up with ways to address your problems. No one works harder for you, and I consider him to be my friend, my state senator, as I've been his assemblyman, and he's called me the same. I stand true by my friend who dedicates 7 days a week, as I do, and take pride in public service. No one should attack Senator Jeff Klein, who's given back so much to this community.
Do you support?
It's all about the resources. You don't need it. You don't need a building soon. I don't want to vote for Republicans.
Give me that question. Quiet, please.
I look forward to reasonable.
Lucy will bite you. You're up.
All right. So I think we need to call it what it is. If it's red, it's red. If it's black, it's black. If it's blue, it's blue. I'm a Democrat. I vote Democrat. I support Democrats. And I'll tell you, I would not support an IDC member. I do not support the IDC. I have advocated against the IDC. I believe that it's about time, or it should be time, that we dismantle the IDC, and that they should be only Democrats or Republicans. You choose who you are. Tell the truth. Don't hide behind someone. And if you're backing an IDC member, then you're an IDC. So I'm telling you how it is. And if you're Republican, be Republican. If you're Democrat, be a Democrat. Don't hide behind somebody else's record. Be who you are, right? And represent the people honestly, because you're not being honest if you're saying that you support an IDC member, but then you're a Democrat. That's not true, because you're voting with Republicans.
Okay, so yes, I was going to say in the closing that I am the candidate running under the registered Republican, Conservative, and another party called the Reform Party line. I am proud. I've always been a Republican my entire life, and I have worked together with all the elected officials that we currently have. And I'm proud to say that it's not about the Republican or the Democrat. We can cross party lines and work bipartisan, because that's how things will get done in the city. Because if all we do is say Republican or Democrat, all we're ever going to do is fight. We can't get things done that way. So I say it's not about being red or white or black. It's about being red, white, and blue. We are Americans. We need to work together. We need to be bipartisan. Yes, I am. Thank you.
No, Jack, thank you for your question. I assume this was related to me because I also work for Jeff Klein. Listen, I will be very clear on this. I respect Jeff Klein. I respect his service to the community. I personally don't think we're going to be able to primary out 8 sitting members. And Jeff Klein has done some good things for the community. Having said that, excuse me, did I interrupt you when you spoke? No, I didn't. Thank you. And when it comes to the Reproductive Health Act, when it comes to gender, when it comes to Nicholas as well, many of these things Mr. Joe and I votes against. The Erstat laws, to give you a say in how your rent is set, campaign finance reform, and our city schools being underfunded. Unfortunately, the record is these things get bottled up and progressive legislation doesn't pass. So for the good of the state, they got to go back. Thank you.
Yeah!
How do we destroy the IDC? We create term limits at the state assembly and the Senate. We create term limits along the whole system. We need to vote it in. What's happening here? You have 8 new people. We would have never been here if there wasn't 4 term limits. Jimmy Vaca violated the voters, and gave himself an extra term, and now he's endorsing Marjorie. Mark just said he was with Senator Klein, so he's part of the IDC. We need term limits across the board. We need to make sure that we change the system. Look how beautiful and how many wonderful candidates with new ideas are here presenting new ideas and bringing new change. This is what we need. We need to continue to have term limits across the board. We need to have people from the crowd to come in and say, we can represent better than what's there before. Thank you.
All right, folks, before the next person comes up, I'll just ask, please keep your comments to yourself. We're trying to be fair and equal with these candidates and give them each a fair shake. Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Well, I can answer that by saying I'm a very proud Democrat who helped get Senator Jamal Bailey elected into state senate. As you know, he is a proud Democrat as well. And what we need is a united front from our Democrats in our state, because the way that we can show the nation who Democrats really are is by showing that we are united. That's what we're doing tonight. We're coming to you, we're asking you what's the best way for us to help you. Because you know what, when it comes down to it, everyone's voices need to be heard. At the same time, but when you run on a Democratic line, you should be proud to be a Democrat as well. Thank you.
All right, so we have, last but not least, running a tad tardy. Give him a little 10 extra seconds. So you're going to address the question, and then we'll roll right into it.
1 minute on your question, then 3 minutes on your
Right, which will be his combination summation and...
Okay. In reference to, good evening, Egidio Cementelli. It's a pleasure to be here, thank you. I want to explain to everyone why I was late. I was at a community board 10 meeting, and we had a victory tonight, second time in a row. We had the hookah lounge, which was denied their liquor license, so that was one win. And this is last month, we had a second win. We had Made in Puerto Rico on Tremont Avenue. Also, the liquor license were denied. So things are going good. I think we're going to get control of all these illegal bars or illegal behavior and their conduct and their lack of respect for the community. So I think we're on a roll, Community Board 10. But in reference to the IDC, absolutely, I'm a loyal Democrat, been a loyal Democrat for many, many years. Governor Cuomo just proposed single payer. Single payer. Medical single payer. Right? Who's stopping it? The Republicans. IDC, Jeff Klein. You must understand that. That's a perfect example of why Cuomo will never get his single payer passed, because of the IDC.
That's time.
Okay, my 3 minutes, right?
Okay, now you can start your 3 minutes.
Okay, thank you. Cementelli again. Pleasure. I am a Democrat. I'm running in the Democratic primary, September 12th. I need your vote. I'm the oldest and with the most experience candidate in the race here. I have no political affiliation. In fact, I've been running for office. Maybe remember, some of you might remember, I ran against Jimmy Vaca. I also ran against Provenzano. Thank you, I did lose. Thank you so much. It was a good experience. I ran against Jeff Klein. Thank you so much. As I said, the most experienced and with history. No one else has the history. By the way, who kept saying that? I just want to see. Was it you? Oh, thank you. I was just curious who kept saying that. But this time around, we have a little bit different situation, don't we? We have, the IDC was very important. I'm sure all the debates I've been to, it's never been raised. So I applaud this community for raising that, for being on top of the issues. Will it have an effect on the IDC? Of course. Will it have an effect on Jeff Klein? Of course. Whoever wins the city council here, it's almost 70% of the Senate district. 70% geographical. That's why Jeff Klein is endorsing that man. because he needs someone to have his backyard covered.
Right.
And whoever the city council, especially if I win, there will be no Jeff Klein as a senator. There will be no IDC. I tell you this, I tell it right in front of everyone. Everyone knows. Do some of the other candidates have political affiliation here? Absolutely. I don't. Probably least amount of money that I've raised. If anyone wants to go to the campaign finance, vote New York City, what is it? New York City. You could put a $20 credit charge. You don't have to give it to me. I'll be happy to accept it. I'm the poorest candidate also in this race. I can't believe some of my candidates, I applaud them. They raised $100,000. Mr. Daw, another 100,000. God bless everyone. I don't know, 100,000 like nothing. Mr. Jarnai, 400,000. My God. Business is good. God bless everyone. So, I do need your support. I do need your support. City Island is interesting. My brother spent many years here. He had the pharmacy before Joe. In fact, he was Joe's business partner, my family. So I spent a lot of time coming to visit my brother, and we would have lunch at Laura's. Who remembers Laura's? Best food in place. Next to the diner. But I think they lost the greatest cook in the diner, right? I remember Cementelli, Egidio Cementelli. Thank you.
All right, so now we're doing 1 minute summations.
So I really want to thank, I want to thank the Civic, and I want to thank all of you people for coming out. I mean, this shows that you care about your community, and I care about your community. It's my community too. We want to help make it better. I want to keep the nautical feel. I want to keep City Island the way it is. I'm not about big changes that we're going to allow the developers to come in and change everything around. We're going to work on lowering real estate taxes, income taxes. As an accountant, I hear all the time, oh, stop complaining in the Bronx. You guys pay very low real estate tax, but we pay city tax. So we pay more than the people in Westchester and Dutchess and all the other parts of the state. So we deserve a better quality of life. That's what we're going to get under my, if I win the council seat. I hope that tonight I've answered your questions. If you have more questions for me, we'll hand out some information with my cards. You can go to Serenity2017.com, and I hope that we can talk more later. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for the invite. I appreciate the opportunity. I'm very humbled to have been part of this tonight, as well as part of this race. You have candidates from all walks of life. Like I said from the beginning, I'm a fighter. I grew up a fighter. I know what it is to serve on the ground level. I want to bring down the property taxes. I want to help the small business owners. I want to help the unemployed and underemployed in our community. I want to help the young adults in on our community who don't have a place to go after school. And I want to create an opportunity for working parents, especially females who are single parents, who have young children, to have a universal child care voucher so that they can afford to continue to live independently and don't have to depend on other people or even the system, because I think that's important. Family is important. I want to also acknowledge my wife, who I haven't acknowledged tonight. Her name is Rosa. She grew up in the community for over 30 years. She doesn't look her age. Everybody thinks that she's my daughter. They always think that I'm her, father. And Anthony Lopez, who's been working with me from the beginning, who has worked diligently on the campaign. Lastly, we need a change in this community. This is not, City Island shouldn't be known for Don Coquille, or it shouldn't be known for Johnny's Reef, or it shouldn't be known for Seafood City. It's a nautical community. It's a community. Let's preserve it.
Thank you, City Island. My name is Victor Ortiz. I'm going to be your next city council member. I'm fighting a special fight because we have 8 people here running, and we already got one person creating that policy to knock me off the ballot. Thank you, Marjorie. She's going to try to knock out me and Mr. Gomez. I raised 1,500 signatures, and she used her power and lawyers to try to bump me off. That's not democracy. Why would you want to drop somebody out of the race